to finish up this community tour that we started yesterday. Let me just put my tweet out and we can get into that. If you'll remember from yesterday's tour, we started visiting the Smoky Isle community. We already took a look at Friedrich Hegel's part, and then we moved on to Nori of Wind Chasers, and now we're finishing up Thalathea and Kalawanjis. We're in the Sensea jungle part of the community, and I'm pretty sure we kind of stopped right around here as I was looking for the bunker house entrance. So you can see we have covered basically about 2.5 plots of this particular community. So I'm hoping that today we'll be able to wrap it up in relatively good time. I think it's going to work out best that that's how we do the community tours. I've talked to a few other people about how things were going, and the last few months with me kind of dialing back some of the tour setup that we had before. Before I just kind of winged it. Sometimes we'd only visit one house, sometimes we visit up to 4 or 5, and depending on how detailed the plots are, you can kind of squeeze in more than the usual if there's like a couple that are not so heavily customized, as opposed to one that's like so overloaded with custom that you have to like spend hours just looking at it. So after I got sick and we kind of dialed things back, the 2 plots per week, the 2 individual plots per week has been kind of a pretty good standard that I've been sticking with for the last few months, and I think it's worked really nicely. Sometimes the stream doesn't last for just about an hour or so. Sometimes it goes pretty close to the 2-hour mark, but it very rarely goes over that. And if it does, it's no big deal. We just kind of, split the video into a couple of shorter ones to be able to export it to YouTube. So that's not an issue, but the thing is for me to be able to talk that long and be comfortable with it and not get too tired about it. I think trying to aim for a 2-hour window as a general rule is the best approach. And I think that's what's going to work well for the communities, just breaking it down to a 2-part deal. And I'm willing to go ahead and stream an extra day on the weeks that we do the community tours. So instead of just the Wednesday stream, it'll be a Wednesday and Thursday stream. Again, that may fluctuate depending on how I'm feeling that week. We may have to make a Wednesday and a Friday deal or something like that. But I will do my best to keep to that pattern, to having a 2-day stream set up for the community tour, and then when we do an individuals rounds, we'll just have the 2 houses or 2 plots set up like we have in the past. Now, again, as I mentioned yesterday, the plan is to go through all of the winners and honorable mentions, and any general participants that didn't get mentioned. I'm going to try and cover all of the communities for the showdown competition that Carbine hosted. And that's what we're going to focus on for the next few weeks. It's going to be a little while. There's quite a few of them to go through, and so it's going to take a few months to make it all the way. Once we get through that, then we'll go back to our usual individual plots, and then I'll throw in a community now and then. I might make a point to try and do like once a month. I don't know. It depends on how readily available new communities pop up that are, relatively complete and everything and worth a look. But I'll throw them in now and then. So it'll still be tours once a week, but it may just be a 2-part deal for the community stuff now and then. Okay, so we are on, like I said, the Lothians section of this particular community, and I was on the lookout for the bunker house, and I remembered that this one is a little sneaky. Just to get you oriented, uh, this was the part where there's some water features, where the oh gosh, I can't even think of the name. The Taurine, I think it is Taurine. There we go, Taurine uh, decorations are, and then there's the Orin platform up here with the hugel on it, which is kind of a clue. You can see we're kind of in the middle. The entrance is over here. And if you find the hugel platform here, just go to the left of it and you'll come up on a little door. It's right by the waterfall area, and there is an actual stone door that you can open up, and that will lead you to the bunker house entrance. Once you go inside there, then you will see that they have added in, it's not exactly a sewer system, I don't think. It's just a kind of an underwater system. It doesn't look nasty looking or anything. Again, I believe these are regular waterfalls and winding rivers. They have recolored to be a little bit more blue. Excuse me. I'm not entirely sure what the pathway is made out of. I suspect it's just the bottom of a fence or a wall, the edges of it. It does look pretty shiny, so some kind of metal maybe. It could be a soul frost item that's being used, and it's just the edge of it. I'm not entirely sure. The smoke, normally I would say the white smoke is typically the blue flare, but because it's a little bit less defined, it's more poofy. I don't know how to describe it. It's more misty looking. I believe this is one of those that comes from the smoke pack from the cash shop. Just because of the way it's moving and everything, it just looks, it's behaving differently than the blue flare. But, you know, as I said, if you don't have access to those, or you don't want to spend money on that, or your Omnibits, the blue flare is an option. That's all I can think of. These, I think, are typically blue color. I think they just recolored them to a yellow to better match the scenery that they have down here. Those are the, I can't think of it, but it comes from the Arctera area. They're relatively easy to drop. So it kind of not quite like catacomby feel because of all these little archways and these little alcoves that they have set up. But you can see how they've changed the soul frost coloring. They've taken it from the blue to a more green to match, again, their kind of naturey look with the taurine stuff. Here we have a little treasure room. This here, I'm not really sure what this is. I assume it's some kind of a landing pad or something. It has, I don't know if that's Ichthian design or what. Um, Again, I think this part here is some of that soul frost material. See how it's got that kind of texture? I think it's the same bits that they're using for this part and this part here, but I'm not for sure what this is. It could be one thing, and then they've got like some cylinders for that edging here. Excuse me. Move a little further, and you come across again some additional alcoves. There's a lot of red moon bits, there's taurine bits, there's I mean, you can see they're even using like the little crypt, uh, not the pet one, but the other one, to make it look like faux doors, like maybe they live down here in some way, or it leads to other places. A little bit of art tarot with the frozen skulls. I don't know what all of this is supposed to represent, if it's like, you know, a special uh, like altar kind of thing, sacrificing or something. Again, a lot of different kinds of little alcove rooms. There's Galarian stone walls here. You see some of the kind of like Gothic pillars going on. And you can see how well the stone door blends in. I mean, without that green highlight, it would be easy to mistake it as something else. Yeah, it just almost looks like it doesn't go anywhere, but if you hover over it, you can tell immediately that it's a functioning door. Again, this is the Macari chair that's inset or blended with the pet crypt, or that little sphinxy looking crypt. And you can tell, again, they use a lot of the color shifting to tone some of these pieces down. A lot of this is really bright golden and everything. And see how they snuck in a Shades Eve lamp or post, part of that. This here, again, I don't know if it's supposed to actually represent something, but you can see there's some, like a giant, one of those portable holographs, I think. And then they've got that, I don't know if it's Ichthian dome or something. It's one of those newer pieces. That's okay, Poi. It's no biggie if folks don't make it today, because it's a bit on the unusual side for sure. But I appreciate you joining us. This here, I think these are some Red Moon like tables, and they've made it like a little canister on the side here with some curved glass. And this here, I think, is one of those cryopods. We are down in the bunker house of Salophan's plot, if you missed that, boy. I like the railings here for these stairs. Now, the stairs are standalone stairs, so I think it's the Protostar version, but they've added railings to it. It's just the metal planks with some pillars. Same way here. The railing is the planks. Notice they've color shifted these red moon lights. Those are typically just a bright white, and they've shifted into this yellow green. Again, it's mostly to blend it all together. A lot of those soul frost tubes. You can see they've color shifted quite a bit to match it all up. Datascape windows for this animation here. Yeah, sometimes it makes it even harder to identify objects because you wouldn't think that it would really change it that much, but to change the color, it really does. It throws you for a loop, and it makes it my job a little bit more difficult because I'm like, I think I recognize what that is, but I can't quite decide if that's the case or not. So here we have a little bit of a lab, an Eldon lab, I guess. You can see there's all kinds of goodies here. They've got some of the soul frost blobs to make it look like the bottle that's leaned over is spilt. Um, Again, a lot of color shifting going on to kind of match things up, to bring things a little different look to them. I love the way the light and shadow plays with this particular lamp. It's kind of like the, I think it's the leaf lamp. It's like the purple thing. Again, color shifting the grasses to a purple. It's just, I don't know what all this stuff is. I see technophage circuitry and the platform, and there's a lot of sulfrost stuff going on, but I don't know what's what, specific names in particular. Like, look how that's sticking out, and I have no idea. Because again, like the pink and the pink tubes and all that's typically purple, and just see how it's changed the look of it. It's like this is the one, I think it's called the emitter, technophage emitter. It's the one that has like the purple lights, and they've changed it up. Just looks pretty weird. Okay, let's see. We cover all of that. See, like that's typically blue, and they colored it green. Let's see. I think that's all for the bunker house. Yeah. Now we'll see if we can finish up this jungle here and move on to the next plot. Let's see, where are we? I think this leads back out to the entrance part. Just want to make sure. I'm just going to be kind of wandering through to see if there's anything I missed. See, let me go up this way. Yeah, I think we're in the verge between. I think this is one of those plants that actually moves. Uh, I want to say it comes from one of the decor packs, but I'm not positive. You can see how it's actually a functionable thing. Kind of creepy. It's just like supposed to be like a Venus flytrap kind of deal. Okay, I think we've seen this part. I'm not sure if we've been over there. Where are we? Over there. I think that's the entrance. Right. Yeah, over there's the entrance. Where we come in, so see if I can probably a better way of doing it, but I'm going to see if I can get up here. Maybe not from this direction. Oops, gonna get stuck. Make sure I don't accidentally run over the teleport pad there. I've done that before and I'm really upset with myself. I think I already visited that corner. Let's go this way. Yeah, I don't think we went through here because I don't remember the little buzz beam thing with the honeycomb stuffs. That or I just wasn't paying attention yesterday. Awesome jumping there. Yeah, I think this is like the top of where the houses are. Yeah, the houses are like just below the little orny huts or whatever you want to call them. Okay, so I hope we got all of Thalathean's plot visited. I'm sure there's some things I'm missing because it's just so expansive, the build itself, uh, not to mention all of the bits that are included in between and around the plots. So I'm sure there's like some hidden little nooks and crannies that I'm just plainly missing out. But all the more reason to encourage people to actually visit these places in person if they can. And if they can't, hopefully I'm showing a good enough view. I mean, here's that city of the very first part that we visited, and then the like little country farm area, the second part. See how all the mountains and stuff look from a distance. Really laid out fantastically. And again, just being able to blend this in as well as they did. And to be able to make it so that you can, again, transition from each zone of the community plot to the next is done very well. So let's see if I can find a actual place for us to sneak into the next plot, which I think is here. And then we enter what is called The Groove by Lyra Kalawanji, which I assume is Thalathan's alt. Again, lots of use of the Orin landing pad. About the only way I've ever used this thing. I think I used it as a clock one time. But I imagine it could be used as like a roofing for a hut as well in some manner. But used a lot for, other than just landing pads for like aircraft, they use it as platforms and like rugs like we saw earlier. And this is that buoyant blue crystal that gets used for its little wispy stuff. We're seeing kind of the bottom of it. You can see how it moves up and down and has a sparkly stuff. Wow, there's like stuff way below there. I'm not sure if I want to go down deep just yet. If we kind of meander that way. This bit here, if you're wondering about it, that's one of those thinker heads being used. So you get like little glimpses down into the cavey area. Again, I'm hesitant to drop down in there because I don't know what it's going to lead to if I'm going to get stuck. Okay, apparently that's not an exit. Now we're back on the edge here. Again, it's one thing to have 5 plots that you could put into the community, but then you've got to fill up all this extra bits, all of the outside and in the middle here. The landing pad for the community is over in this location, I believe. Not sure what this item is. An oversized something, that's all I know. Bit of a raised look. You can see how they're blending again those purple rock arches along with the obsidian stones and making good use of like the snowy hills, upside down snowy hills for different elevations. But also we saw all through here having the Protostar Insta hills. There are other things you can use for hilly kind of effects, but the Insta hills are probably the easiest. They might not be the cheapest because you only get like one of each type from a cash shop pack, but if you just kind of use them cleverly, I think they go a long way to adding some character to your landscaping. So here again, we're still on the outskirts of the community plot. You can see they've added it in. This here leads us to the entrance. This is where you would actually port in if you come in specifically for Lyra's plot. So it's a little camp. Excuse me. Looks like a excavator's camp. They got like different kinds of relics and things. I'm just going to go a little ways over this way till we get to the end of this part. Just to show you how they've built up all of this extra area. Again, I think I was told you get about 4,000 or 5,000 decor for the community crate for this shared space. There's a little hut, a little outpost or something. Pick up supplies and go back out. It has a almost not quite a deserty feel, probably because of the trees and growth, the plants and stuff that they pick has a deserty feel, to me anyway. Here we have another one of those Chimera caves. they've done a real nice job of just kind of filling in these little spots with interesting bits. I mean, here you have a little nudie going crazy with his burning bush. But rather than do like many of us, just uh, blocking in the sides with just lots of trees like I do, and some with just pure stone, they've mixed and matched it and kept it interesting. That's not an easy thing to do and have it still look like it was naturally formed that way. So we're going to go back to the entrance part so we can tackle Lyra's plot from the traditional starting point. Again, smart use of the grasses, how they leave the path open so that visitors can more readily feel like, okay, this is the right way to go, or an actual path, not just while I'm wandering in the bushes, everything 5 foot high there. Okay, so this would be how you come into this plot from the start. And you'll see they've got the lots of water features in this area too. Seems to be a little cave back there. We'll check that out here in a minute. And the water features, you know, not everybody puts water features on their plot, but when you can, and you can make it look, again, natural. I think mine would probably be too straight and not enough like little debris and things. It just wouldn't look natural enough. If you can make it look natural, that's kudos on you for setting it up that way, because I know how difficult that is to make it look like it just came that way. Again, the thinker heads for these mossy bits. Nice use of the trees to kind of fill in little bits, make it look different. Got the little honeycomb bits there. I'm sure I'm kind of wandering around loosey-goosey here, but again, you can see we're still using snowy hills and such. Here's another little water feature. Beautiful scenery with all the different pastel colors. I mean, to fall down there. So it's got another jungle feel to it, but it's I don't know. It seems more airy to me because I think it's because of the color palette that they've used on this particular one. It's different from the one previous. At least it feels that way to me. Kind of little offering bowl. And notice how they're able to throw in a variety of different types of plants. I mean, you've got some of the eldenite flowers, you've got the little tulip looking things, the burning bushes from some of the desert areas, you've got oh, what's it called? I can't think of what these viney things are. Those come from like the Celestion areas. You got the canary flowers from Wilderun, and yet they all seem to work well together. Back out to where we started before earlier. This is like the different types of trees. The pine trees are predominant up here on this little hilltop, but you can see they've used other kinds of trees and such, the mangroves and stuff, as you progress further in. So here's like some kind of little Elden display. What it's supposed to represent, I don't know. I like how they've kind of modified the Alpha Sanctum stones to be different colors, maybe to represent the different elements. I don't know. I don't know if this is like an upside down fountain that's being used for this little platform. Same way with here. Not sure. Some great spots for screenshots, definitely. Follow the path back down. Just to think that every single piece, every plant, every flower, every stone, every bush, everything is just laid out meticulously, placed and planned, and just crazy. The amount of time and effort and thought that had to go into this to get it to work so well. And this is I think, the top of a thinker head being used as this area here. This has a very strong Eldeny feel. Got some of those, I don't know what they call them, some kind of infused spider webs or whatever. They made their own little tanks here. I think these are some of those Retros blocks. And if not, I'm not sure what that is then, because I've not seen something like that. But it's inside these makeshift tubes, just curved glass and the portable whatchamadoodles. Can't think of the name. Look at the crystal cave here. This is pretty cool. Oops. Dang, I just fell down in there. All right. See if we can get out of that. It's got some fantastic animations on these, even with like those super strong sparkles. I think it was, I want to say it was Aurora, maybe, that was using them as, might have been Siskwe. I really can't remember. Used them as oversized mountainous bits, and the sparkles were huge, but it was pretty nifty how it worked. Again, lots of those purple rock arches. Same thing being used for the flooring, they've just color shifted it to make it look different. I believe anyway, what it looks like. It's just, I'm going by the texture here. Here's another little moody, getting funky. And then you see how we've exited out, and again, we're next to the following plot. I don't want to really go out too far, get ahead of myself here. Where I come from? Yeah. Again, these tunnel cave-like maze plots are really bad for me because I'm very easily confused. And I feel bad because that makes it tougher for me to visit everything, especially in one smooth go, because I tend to kind of get lost. It's not intentional, I'm just really bad at this stuff. So, okay, so there's a door there. We'll come back to that one. Let's just see what else is down here. I think this is some of the stuff we saw from up above earlier. I'm not for positive, but I suspect that's the case. But you can see they're using some of the far side mushrooms, just general grass bits, the shroom clusters. So you got the thinker heads. And always with the little bits of elven goodies snuck in there. Like I'm going way far. There's another exit. Let's go this way, I guess. All these interconnected paths just going to be the ruin of me. Okay, so there's the entrance. We went down that way, I think, past the water. Guess while we're here, I'm going to take a look at the waterfall thingy. And then we'll go back the other. Unless this actually joins to it, which is possible. But again, the planning it takes to keep this all making sense is just nuts. I'm not sure if this is the same part or not. Look at the complexity of this thing. It's just crazy. Again, thinkerhead stuff, I think, here. I like this lighting better than the other. Okay, let's go out this way. Lost. Okay, this might have been the door that we saw from the other side, so let's look. No, completely different. Now I'm not sure where we come from. Well, I guess we'll go here. So it's like some kind of elven facility. Now, the doorways here, they look to be those technophage doors. And again, they've color shifted it to a more bland looking. I think they're typically purple. which would really clash here. Um, that was one disadvantage before the color shifting. You know, you had to kind of really, you might find something that was the right shape or the right texture, but the wrong color, and you were forced to find something else that had the right color if it needed to match a particular theme or something. And now with the color shifting, that's opened up so much more possibility because you can use things when they have the right look but didn't necessarily have the right color. Now you can modify it enough to match how you want. Um, I'm not even sure what all these pieces are. Most of it's Elden related. I think some of those winged statues. I think these particular pieces that keep flashing are the ones that has like the three, like uh, uh, it's like this piece here. Got the three bars sticking out of it. I think Poi uses a knife set one time. Like these parts, I don't know if those are like some of those statues again, and they've just kind of made it into this archway, or what. I have absolutely no idea. It looks awesome, but I really couldn't tell you specifically what's the exact name of that particular. Okay, I think this is the door we came across earlier. Okay, I'm kind of know where I'm at now, sort of, not. Lead anywhere. See, here's another path that took us to an interesting spot. This is these type of plots are those that I wouldn't be averse to having like a little roadmap that I can follow because there's just so many little alternate routes you can take. There's a little throne thing. What's on his chair? A little plushie. And there's a fab kit right in the middle of everything. I don't remember the name of it. And look, it's even open to the sky there. So I wonder, whoop, get down here. I'm sure there's a way to get from here. I say that and then it probably won't be, but okay, yeah, that way. Okay, so I remember seeing that part. Let's go. Okay. Is this the one that led to the Moody? No, this is back to the entrance. Okay, we're good, we're good. Oof. Okay, so, well, maybe we should go back inside because I suspect if there's any path to a prefab home or a bunker, it's down here somewhere because this is like the bottom ground level part. Not this way because that's the dead end. Then we're going back up and back down. Need to go more inside there. Maybe somewhere inside this facility. Maybe I missed a door somewhere. Like maybe one of these little spots is the actual door. And that'd be cool. Is that one, is that the only one that has an arrow above it? Maybe that's a clue that that's where the entrance to this thing is. Always tricky. The activate button is for this panel here. I'm pretty sure that doesn't actually do anything. It could be it's something set up to only work when they have like what's it called? The interactables feature on the KBT program. So I'm trying. I don't know if I can actually get in it without it doesn't seem to be accessible this way. It's kind of like when builders like put stones or water bits over it. It can be a little tricky to get it to pop up. Unfortunate, I see something pop and I can't see it fast enough. I don't know if it's just that activate button that keeps trying to sneak in or up there it is. I got it. Okay, so the trick I think is to make sure your camera is closer in, because if it's out, it's going to focus on the control panel here. Zoom in and then be facing that, and then you get the door. So glad I got that to work, because I would have felt really bad, because I was positive that's what that arrow meant. It was a clue that this is the facility down below. So I'm glad that worked. Again, I don't know what all of this stuff is. You see, like there's that. Uh, again, I'm not sure what piece it is. It's Eldon stuff. There's a lot of Eldon stuff, and then they've got some of those pillars. You've got like the platform here. Um, this is like a bunch of those portable holograph deals. This here, I want to say it's that rotating. I don't know what this is. I couldn't really say. But it's cool how they've set it up. It's certainly different. Like, I think this is one of those lamp things from Far Side. Or maybe it's an Eldon one. I have absolutely no idea. And again, I think these are some of those Retros blocks. But they've like really jazzed this up. This fantastic looking. Look at all those floaty blocks. And then this, I think, is to represent like a portion of the property. It may be like a miniature section of the property that we're visiting now, but look how cute that is, how adorable. I could see someone doing something like this and having like, making it like a little pond. I mean, we saw the one, I think it was on Entity, where they had a restaurant and the whole outer wall was like a whole little diorama kind of thing set up. Because, you know, anything small like this, how adorbs is that? And I think I don't see a door or anything, or a staircase. I think that's all this interior is. but amazing looking. I mean, it doesn't even look like a bunker house down here. It just totally went with this strange Eldon facility deal. Okay, I'm so delighted I got that to work properly because, again, I would have felt bad. Okay, so I think that's it for down below. Wander through here. No, I don't think we've been to this. Okay, these are like little teleport pads. That's pretty nifty. These here, that's some of that screen bits that you can get from the screen decor pack. This is probably the only one that looks like this. It's the Eldon one. The others are flat and look like little weird TV screen kind of things. Wow, this is like, goes on and on, doesn't it? And datascape windows, even for the ceiling, I think. Something, I'm not sure what that is. These here come from the daily login rewards, I believe. You'll see me hover. I'm looking to see if there's like any hidden doors that I'm just not noticing. I like the way they did this entranceway here with the windows. We're inside one of those half dome thingies. You can see it as the ceiling. That's pretty cool. Again, really paid attention to the details. Look how they've pushed it just so that the green bits are popping up on the floor. Make it look like it's a power source for this doorway or whatever it's supposed to be. We come in this way. Okay, I think that's all of that. I'm just so happy I got into that down below. Okay, I think we went this way before. Let's go back. So I think we've explored most, if not all, of this little cave uh, bit. And trying to think, wondering if we managed to make it through all of the exterior part. Take a quick look, see if there's something that stands out. I didn't go there yet. Up there. I'm not sure we got to the very tip top because I don't think we found the place where you can look at that huge Eldon fab kit from the top. See, did we go in here? Yeah, that's the door we went in now. Okay, continue up. If you remember, the Eldon fab kit was visible from an opening all the way out to the outdoors, so I don't think we've found that yet. Should be in this location somewhere, so we haven't gone all the way around, I don't think. It might be that, might not be this high. I don't want to fall to my death out here, so. Yeah, there it is. I think that's the fab kit with the KV part there. So let me just kind of see if we can kind of fall down gracefully. So this is the view from above where we were below. In fact, I think I came out somewhere in the middle of that was where the moody guy was with the chair and everything. Another door. It's one of the reasons why I leave the doors open once I've used them so that I can kind of remember where I've been and haven't been. Hey Dre, I would say yes, especially I think they're right now doing a free boost to level 50 if you come in. If you want to try out the higher levels of the game, like the rating and stuff, I think that's what it's designed for. The housing system just got a big boost recently. We're touring one of the first communities, basically a joining of 5 plots into a single cohesive one. Um, Beyond that, I really can tell you because I myself haven't had time to play as much as I would like, um, mostly due to my health. So I'm probably not the best to say. From a PvP standpoint, I have absolutely no idea. I don't keep up with that aspect of the game at all. I have PvP'd in the past, but I'm terrible at it. It's not something I enjoy. So I don't really pay attention to any updates regarding that feature of the game. I would say your best bet is to go into the forums and either poke around in there or even drop in um, with a message asking for information about that. It's like a little creepy section here with all these spider webs and brambles and stuff. Yeah, I think prime time is probably best for any type of queuing. I don't know, with the cross-faction queuing, does that affect the PvP as well? I know they set it up so that it improves the queue times for like dungeons and stuff, but I didn't know if that actually um, affected PvP stuff like for battlegrounds and stuff. Because now you can group up with those of opposing faction to complete uh, dungeons and I want to say raids too, but honestly, I'm not sure. 'Cause again, I don't really get into that part of the game. Housing is more my focus, so naturally that would be a space. Again, uh, I'm really not, not the one to comment on the PvP stuff. Unless it's housing related, I'm pretty clueless. It's just like I've had people, I play a stalker primarily in the game, and I've had people ask for advice on stalkers and like, don't ask me. I just kind of blindly like face roll across my keyboard and pray that I'm uh, slower at dying than the creature that I'm trying to kill off because I'm like the worst. when it comes to housing, I'm happy to give my take on that, but anything beyond that is really not my not my area of nothing. It's not even close to expertise. Okay, so I'm going to say that we finished up Lyra's plot. We're going to head into the final section of this community, which is, I think this is where you actually zone in. It's called Rust Rock by Lemon Toffee, which makes me hungry, and I'm not sure why, but it makes me think of food. So thank you, Lemon, for causing my stomach to growl. But this one is, again, like I said earlier, when we were on the outskirts, it felt kind of deserty, and I can see why now, because we're heading into a more of a deserty, uh, almost, oh, what's that zone called? Can't even think of it. But sandy, kind of like a mining town or an old western sort of feel to it. I think they're more into uh, maybe like a, I can't even think of what I'm trying to say, but let's just go around and see if we can find what's all out here. Now, we're kind of starting in on the plot, but there's still some areas around and in between that we haven't been, and I'll see about going through those before we wrap up today. Again, you can see mostly the sandstone that they're using, but they're also got some of the purple rock arches and other bits. Again, they're using a lot of the cactuses and deserty plants that you would expect. Oops. You see that? I just ran into the bush and it just knocked me. I forget not all plants are collision free. So here we come to our first little house on the hill here, the corner. And it's mostly decking pieces. I think in fact it's pretty much that's all it is. There's a few 2x4s here. You've got the rain gutter on the side. Uh, there might be some boardwalk underneath here, I think, but the rest of it is pretty much decking pieces. Again, I love those kind of building materials that are very versatile like that. Now this is the, I think it's the kiddie pool fab kit. You don't see it too often. The few times we have seen it, you probably wouldn't have recognized it because the builders actually built around it so that all you saw was the pool itself and not all this other stuff. Just for those that don't get to see it very often, that is the kiddie pool fab kit. On, open the door. So inside you see it's a little house. That's a little bedroom here. I even gave them a cute little window that kind of negates the need for having to patch this in like they had to do here. You can see they've done it neatly, but a lot of people have trouble with the roofs of the homes. Some avoid it altogether by just making the ceiling flat so that you don't see the peaked roofs and you don't have to worry about any bits that might be poking out funny on the interior of it. But there you go. Another fab kit. I don't recall the name of this. I don't know if it's the robot thing or the garage. I don't know the name of it. I don't use fab kits a lot, so I tend to not remember them as often. I assume this is kind of like, I don't know what this is, like the mine. I love the way they've set up the desk part with the fencing. I think it's the ones from the Arctera, the Osun graded floor something. Works really good for a little setup like this. Others, if you can't get a hold of that for whatever reason, maybe your character isn't that high. The reputation requirement for it is pretty low, so if you make it to Arctera Zone, you don't have to get too far into it before you should have access to this, because it's like one of the first ones you unlock from the reputation vendor, if I recall rightly. But if you aren't high enough for that, I've seen others use like the Marauder net shelf. That's a good one. Or just using the fences like the Protostar chain link fences and things like that. Those will work for this kind of a setup as well. We'll go in there in a sec. The faux doors here, those are just flat metal tables. Now the handles, I honestly am not for positive what those are. It's a different kind of handle that I normally see, and just from here I can't really tell what that is off of. But some of the things people have used in the past is just the tops of bottles, hammerheads, the handles from the vintage beer mugs. Some of the crates come with handles. This doesn't remind me of anyone in particular, but like the the wood crate, the metal crate, even some of the handles from some of like the Draken urns, those are also usable for handles in this respect. Um, the one from the body analyzer, I think is what it's called, or body something scanner, the big tall thing that kind of looks like a porta potty looking deal. It has the long handles. A lot of people like to use that for their refrigerators and stuff, but it could also work here if you're looking for something different. These are just the graded shelves, like a bit of a mess hall. And I guess these are prison cells or something. Yeah. I thought it was a mine, but I guess it's an actual prison, underground prison kind of thing. If I recall rightly, these are awesome animations for the drilling, the little drill bot things, but they're really loud from what I recall. And I think even these make a lot of noise. I've seen folks use them in interesting ways, of course, but just gotta remember they make a lot of noise. Here's a good shot. This is where that Elden stuff was up at the top. See how they've layered it up with different kinds of, you can see the obsidian stone and the purple rock arches, and then the sandstones, how it's blended down to move off into a different zone. Okay, again, it has a kind of like a little western town feel to it. Sorry about the lag. I don't know if it's, again, it's all the rendering of whatever's put out here. It's like bogging my computer down something awful. But look at this little setup of the buildings here. Some of it is boardwalks. You've got decking pieces. You've got hover park pieces. One of these, like a single piece there. Pillars, looks like of the uh, exile style. Very basic looking, but I like how it's set up. I like the old Western style of buildings. I like how this is supposed to be the bookshop, and they've even got this little stand out here that they built with 2x4s and got it filled up and overflowing with books. Same way with the window here, the little stand with the books on display. Again, using the bookshelf as it is with the filled books, that's totally acceptable, especially since they went through the trouble of adding these extra details with the bookshelves in other areas. I like that. The faux door back here, that's just, I think it's a hover part piece and then a bottle top. And here we have, I don't know if this is supposed to be like the post office. I kind of suspect it is just because of the way this is filled up with uh, packages and such. But it could also be maybe a bank or maybe it's an inn, and like the rooms for rent are up into this area here, that kind of thing. Again, little faux doors, just using the archways to represent a doorway and then having the other type of wood on the other side. This, I think, is from one of the signs. I don't know if it's the beer one with the lady, drinking lady, this wonky or what. And then here we have, it looks like a clothing store. So they're using these bits here, that's the bars, the ones that it doesn't have bottles in it, it's the empty one. But they're pushed down so you just see the top part. And so they're using the little lit bulbs to make it look like it's lit up. I think they've actually had to insert a light inside there to actually bring some light to it, because I don't think these actually produce any lighting on their own. And then using the Hugel portrait as the mirror. I'm not sure what they're using to represent the actual mirror part that covers up the Hugel portrait itself. It looks like they've inlaid one of those golden portraits too to kind of make it more rectangular. And then maybe an oversized plate or a flat metal table or something along those lines for the silver part of it. And then they've done something similar for the mirror here, the handheld one, just using one of those ornate pillars for the handle. For the shelf here, again, it's just part of that bar, and then they've added an orange shelf inside. The towels, again, they come from the Boxing Gym Fab Kit. You just have to make it past the fourth challenger in that little game to have a chance of getting one or the other type of towel. You don't have to complete it. If you do complete the challenge, I think you have a chance of getting like the kitchen sink that everybody raves about because it's got the dripping water and all that. The drawers here, I think they're using either staircase landings, or you could probably get away with using the dividers. It looks like files for the handles that have been recolored like a yellow gold, and then the same item they're using, the Hugel portrait, they're using the same here. It's just two of them together to make a little pattern, a little filigree for the front of the closets or doors or whatever you want to call them. This would be great for like a dressing room for a theater, little theater setup, um, or just in a personal residence kind of deal. But this really reminds me of like a theater dressing room. This little bit here, I'm honestly not sure what's being used for it. This part here looks like a snowy hill just because of the white puffs come out of the ground. So it might be the same. No, it's a little different there. It looks like it's the, maybe it's the emblem, the one that has a skull face on it, the Marauder emblem. Just because of the texture on it, it looks coppery. And then they've added in either cylinder or dome edges, different types to make this design, and then filled it with that snowy hill to make the dirt match. Same way here, they've dressed this up a little bit. This is the leprechaun statue, but they've put it on top of, it looks like one of the pillar blocks. But this part here and this part, those are both from the gear trophy bits. This is the bottom of it and this is the top of it. So it's two different trophies that's being used to make this little design on here. And we're going crazy here. Little fruit vendor. Again, the color shifting comes in really handy with the fruits to make the hanging fruits look different. For now, we only had the two colors, purple and brown, but now you can get some pretty vibrant looks to get some variety. There's a meat vendor with some fruits hanging on it. His little counter is just one of the metal containers with some curved glass for the sneeze guard there. This here is, it's reminiscent of the Chua houses. It's just hover part pieces and domes and cylinders, curved glass archways, make this nice little house. Looks more like a workshop sort of out here. Here without getting stuck. Yeah, it's just like his little workshop. But I could easily see this being turned into a like a little personal residence, like a little apartment for Chua, having his living room here and the bedroom and the side there. Meat storage vendor, butcher kind of thing. And this would be, the smoke is from the blue flare, and then they've added in little icicles and such to make it, give that cold, the illusion of it being like a freezer type of deal. Faux doors here are the garage themed coffee tables. We have another shop, different little odd and end collectibles. This crate is a big favorite for refrigerators. We've actually seen them used as like cubicles for beds. If you oversize them, it works out really well. I saw that in somebody's spaceship once. It looked pretty cool. There's a potion vendor, I guess. So again, the color shifting comes into a big play there, being able to give a more variety of the different, we have a limited number of bottles that we can use, and it just helps to have the color shifting. So he's got his brewing and toxic barrels, make his different potions stuff. Shelving again is the bar, but I think they have it upside down. So the curvy part is down below as opposed to the other way around. Can't say for sure, but that's what it looked like anyway. Either that or it's just cut off from the ceiling. It could be that too. Decking pieces for most of this walkway and everything. Here's the local bar. Oh, my stomach is really going haywire. The little table here, that's just an upside down feeding trough. A favorite table thing. This is another fab kit. This is the casino one, I think. I don't know if they've really done anything to the interior. It comes pretty much furnished, I think. But you can see what it looks like in case you haven't seen it before. Just like all of this is pretty much standard what it comes as. I think this little part here, the sewer entrance, they added that to just kind of give it a little different, but I think for the most part I like this little, almost kind of like a little hangar type of thing. It's just some domes and the curved wall. And then their makeshift like motorbike here. I'm not sure what all of this is. It looks like it's not the oh, what's it called? It's not the cryopods, I don't think. But I honestly don't know what this piece is. But you can see they got like the orange easy chair on here. They got a control panel for part of it. Tires, of course. This is one of those streamers, I think. This lamp here, I think, is part of the Space Chase decor. But this other part, I'm not sure what that is. It looks familiar in a weird way, but I really have no idea. It works great for the tire guards, though. That's no doubt about that. Looks like just a junk pile. I guess that's why he's over here cleaning it up, but again, the decking pieces are really used quite a bit for the buildings. This is the faux door. It's just the garage themed coffee table again. And they put a little bit of grating over the window just to make it look a little different than the others. Okay, this is getting into the very first plot that we visited, so let's back up over here. I keep checking where I'm at just so I can kind of figure out where I've been and where I haven't been. I'm gonna have this backwards here. Okay, so this is the main house. It's a Chua building. I think it's the bigger version. And this is what you get inside. It looks like a library kind of thing. They got like one whole wall with just ivy bits and plants. They even turned this little cutout. I've seen some use it as like a bedroom kind of setup, and they've turned it into a little terrarium kind of deal. So basically, they're studying the different plants and such from, I presume, maybe the areas surrounding where they are. This is another cutout that's already built into the structure, and they've just turned it into another terrarium type of setup. And this part here is the lab, using like the spaceship window as like a sliding door. Now, if you were into the interactables, you could make it where the switch would actually close and open it. So like some of this is that those body scanners that I mentioned before, or body analyzers or whatever they are, they're off to the side, but then you've got like the test tubes, um, different kinds of crystals acting as a power source, I guess, and then the portable holograph machines there. The base of this, I think, is an upside down locked chest. And then like, I don't know if this is like a generator thing or I've seen that symbol before. I'm not sure where. But an interesting build for the interior here. Faux door here. I think it's one of the pillars from Arcturus, one of the Osun bits, and then they've added little bits like the Protostar windows. Got some hover part pieces for the awning here, hover part pieces for the door, bottle handle, that kind of stuff. Same way here. This little house is actually a combination of, it looks like garage themed coffee tables. There's a chest on the top for the roofing. Fun little buildings. Again, we've heard the arguments from some about the faux buildings and the faux doors are annoying and everything, but sometimes with builds like this, they're necessary. So here you have the graffiti style garage themed coffee table being used as both the awning and the door. And then it's just the metal containers as the building itself. This part here, I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if it's, I have no idea. I want to say it's like the lights, the windows here, or something along those lines, but I'm not really sure. Like they're sandwiched together or something, or it could be bars that are sandwiched together. I really don't know. It looks nifty though, the shape of it. Hey Faye, good morning. Same way here, this little building, it's like a little garage. It's stairs being used for the roofing. A little bit of decking pieces, some metal crates, I think, and then stairs again for the little corrugated door. And I think one of those big lights, again, that's being used for the, not lights, the windows for the frame. Again, my computer is lagging a lot. Trying to see all the bits here. Another little house, decking pieces, picnic table for the door here. The little sign you see that comes from the tiki roof. Oh, stomach. Barking. Let's see, I'm gonna go back up. I think there was an upper part that I didn't go to first time. Another little vendor, repair guy, mechanic type thing. Little pink house. Again, mostly decking pieces. Picnic table for the door. The color shifting is pretty fun when you can put together little, not quite cartoony houses, but again, a little different. Same way here, using basically the same look down here to replicate it up above. It's really a little ramshackle city, town kind of thing going on. Look at this little bit here. They took the time to make this little sign here. I don't know what it's supposed to represent. It's like the armor's sign, and then they've added the triangle pieces and such. I have no idea. There's the city of the first plot we went to. You can see some of the rock formations of the one next door. Woo! Fell a little far that way. Okay, not sure. Saw that one, saw that one. Fab kit. I dare say we may have visited it all. Go up here. Like the little danger sign. It's a tire, the spade, and then the little sign. I think there's a path here. Walk around. Guarantee you, if you want to take a look at these communities, be prepared to spend a good amount of time on them because there's just so much to see. And look at that view. Who knows what's all just hidden out in these little nooks and crannies. Lovely little gazebo at the tippy top. Look how cute that is with the hover park pieces, the gates from the Orin bits. That's cleverly used. Right on top of the Orin landing. Lots of little shelves and plants and things. It's really quite adorable like that. On this part. Here's a great view of that first city we went through. You move off into the little farmland over here, progress past this mountainous area to the jungle. Beyond the mountain is another jungle part of a different style. And that leads you down into this little desert area. Awesome stuff. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take a quick look in the in-between zones just to make sure we didn't miss anything. I don't think so, but never hurts to have a look. You can see these particular builders made a point to make it so that you could go all the way through these. I'm sure it won't be that case for every, here's that little Moody we came across earlier. I'm sure it won't be that way for every community because I think probably Siskiyous would be a good example, being a cave deal, and those that I think there was one that they mentioned was an entire, like the interior of a spaceship. So you might not be able to freely travel all these little outer edge areas like we have been in this particular one. But it's certainly been fun that we were able to kind of see how they joined it up and still made it where you can, move comfortably between the two. You can get to the tip top of this little outcropping. Look like it. I can. There we go. On top of the world, Ma. There we go. That's a good shot of that mountainous region there, where all of the Eldon stuff is and such. Again, there's probably some bits that I've missed unintentionally, of course. I've tried to do my best to visit every area we could spot, but again, as with a lot of plots, you can visit you know, 2, 3, 4 times and always find something new and interesting to that didn't catch your attention the first visit. But just look at how complicated it looks, yet it works really well. There's clear defined paths. There's lots of detail and as far as the plants and everything. It's just a fantastic example of just how far housing has come. It's not just, filling the prefab home with prefab furniture anymore, as it was in the beginning. Almost shortly after we got access to housing, all of these creative people came up with ideas of making things beyond what we actually had, and that's the fun part of this. The Even if they never give us another piece of furniture, people will always come up with new and interesting ways to combine what we have to create something new, and I think that's fantastic. I'm not saying that I don't want them to add new stuff because, yeah, that would be kind of crazy, but I'm saying it's possible that you could just continually have new and fresh things pop up even without that. So. Yeah, so that is the end of our tour of the Smoky Isle community on Jabbit EU. Again, this was the winner of the EU side of the community showdown that Carbine hosted. I guess that would be last month now. Um, I think they won, what, 2,500 or something like that. Next week, we will be touring the NA winner. I don't remember the name of it offhand. I want to say it was the Crimson something. And it will be just like this week. We will do a two-part session. We'll start it on Wednesday, our usual stream day, and then we will progress off to finishing up on Thursday. That's how it's planned to go. If things change, just kind of keep an eye on my Twitter and I will let you know if I have to delay it till Friday or something like that, whatever, or cancel altogether because I'm not feeling well, but hopefully that's not the case and we'll be able to move along as planned. Like I said, my goal is to get through both the winners and then we'll start perusing not only honorable mentions, but also those that participated but maybe weren't mentioned at all. I have been getting names from some of our fellow builders of those that actually participated but didn't get any kind of recognition. So I'm working to tour those as well. So we will be mixing, mingling those and I will try and get through the entire list eventually, however long it takes. If it's a few months before we get through it all, so be it. Then after that, we'll go back to the individual plot tours, and then every now and then I'll throw in another community tour as new and complete ones come out. Yeah. Hopefully you get some ideas if you're planning to do a community yourself. You can see just how much space you have been given. I mean, it may not appear as much with all this little extra bits on the outside, but it really does lend itself well to allowing you to better blend the individual plots together to work out how you're going to transition them. Um, and Yeah, I hope the community has fun with it. It's certainly not something I'm going to be diving into anytime soon, I don't think, because truth be told, I haven't built a single thing in the last couple of months. Again, mostly due to my health. I, uh, I've been forced to kind of keep clear of playing any kind of game. I haven't really been doing any gaming or whatever for quite a while now. Some of it has to do with the dizziness I experienced in the past. Um, some of it's just other things. I don't want to really get into it, but it's So I don't see myself getting involved in a community build, although it would probably be awesome fun. But I hope that our tours here will encourage others to get into it and, of course, share their works with us. And so, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, congratulations to the builders of Smoky Isle. I think it was Revon and Thalothan. I think it was just two individuals that grouped up for this particular community. So well done, and look forward to future projects from you guys and from others. So yeah, thanks again for joining. Hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.